Hello students, today I am going to talk on replication of DNA in prokaryotes. DNA is considered as the central molecule of living systems. It is the fundamental carrier of genetic information present in virtually every cell in body. The genetic information passes from DNA to RNA and from there to proteins. This is the central dogma of life. It is ultimately the DNA that controls every function of the cell through protein synthesis. As the carrier of genetic information, DNA in a cell must be duplicated, maintained and passed down accurately, means without any error, to the daughter cell. This process occurs in all living organisms and is the basis for biological inheritance. The replication process occurs only at the time of cell division. During cell division, each daughter cell gets an exact copy of the genetic information of the mother cell. This process of copying or duplicating the DNA is known as DNA replication. It is like printing a copy of all the pages of a book, like a copier making copies of Xerox. Okay. Now in this diagram, the blue one is the parent DNA. It has two strands of complementary base pairs. Both undergoes replication to produce daughter DNA. Now each strand of the parent DNA serves as a template or mold over which a new complementary strand is synthesized. In the daughter's DNA, here one strand is derived from the parent, that is a mother, and the second one is a newly synthesized one. So the daughter DNA will have a red as well as a blue strand. This is called as semi-conservative type of DNA replication. Semi-conservative means half of the original DNA, here it means the parent DNA or parent strand, is conserved in the daughter cell. Okay. There are three stages of replication: initiation, elongation, termination. Enzyme required for replication is DNA-dependent DNA polymerase. There are three types of DNA polymerase in prokaryotes. DNA polymerase 1, which is also called as POL1. It completes chain synthesis between Okazaki fragments in lagging strand. Pole 2 is required for proofreading and repair. Pole 3, it catalyzes synthesis in leading and lagging strand and also required for proofreading and repair. In eukaryotic cells, 5 polymerases exist. They are alpha, beta, gamma, delta and epsilon. Now let's see the initiation of replication. Initiation starts with unwinding of the DNA strand. It occurs at a specific site. That site is known as origin of replication, ORI. ORI. You can imagine here it as the red line. This red line is the site. This site consists of short sequence of 80 base pairs. Adenine and thymine. A specific protein, DNA-A, which has 20 to 50 monomers, recognizes the site and binds it. And this causes the double-stranded DNA to separate and form a replication bubble. Can you see? This is the replication bubble. This is the site of replication. Prokaryotes has one origin while eukaryotes have multiple sites of origin of replication. So have multiple replication bubbles. So forms multiple replication bubbles. This is because eukaryotic chromosomes are much larger. So multiple origins are needed to replicate the entire chromosome in a short amount of time. Prokaryotes have circular DNA, but for convenience, we have shown in the diagram it as linear. Okay, eukaryotes are linear, double-stranded and linear, but prokaryotes are circular DNA. DNA B protein are also known as helicase. Helicase moves along the DNA helix and it breaks down the hydrogen bonds. These are the hydrogen bonds between the base pairs. Okay, and these hydrogen bonds are broken down at the expense of 2 ATP for breaking one base pairs and hence separates the strands. You can have a look. Okay, the helicase breaks down the hydrogen bonds and it forms a Y shape. This is a Y shaped replication fork and two single stranded DNA. These are the single stranded DNA. They now act as the templates for making new strands of DNA. Okay, so here the replicates acts like the zip opener. It unzips the DNA strand. Okay. Now this is a whole picture of the replication bubble. See, you can see this is the direction of fork, that is this is one Y-shaped replication fork and this is the other side replication fork. Okay, and these are the DNA strands which are newly synthesized. We will talk about leading and lagging strand in the next slide. Okay, this is just to show you a picture of the whole replication bubble, but what we are going to do is we will just divide this into two. So this is the imaginary line which divides the replication fork into two. This is the origin of replication. So we will divide into two and we are just going to understand half of it so that there won't be a confusion when we see the whole picture together. So we will just learn half of it. That's it. The other side also the same thing occurs, but what we are going to see is only half of the replication bubble. Okay, so for the convenience purpose, we will see only the Y-shaped replication fork, that is half of the whole replication bubble. Now, after the helicase cuts the hydrogen bonds and forms a replication fork, the two single-stranded DNA now acts as a template. So, these are the two templates of the DNA parent DNA strand. Now, these two, on this, the new strand of DNA will be synthesized. So, one strand, if you can see, one strand is running from 5 prime to 3 prime direction, while the other is anti-parallel. If you remember DNA structure, the other will be anti-parallel. So the other strand is moving from 3 prime to 5 prime direction. Okay, now let's see from the starting. So helicase now cuts the hydrogen bonds. It will move here, cuts the hydrogen bonds and forms the replication fork. This is the starting. After the initiation, this is the first step. Okay, now as the helicase moves and unzips the strand, now what happens? The DNA strand, this above the replication fork, this DNA strand tends to become more highly coiled. They are known as the supercoils ahead of the replication fork, and this can be imagined like a twisted rope or a cable. It becomes twisted and because of this, now we have to, for the helicase to move forward, we have to remove this supercoils. Okay, these supercoils, as I said, like the twisted ropes, now you have to remove this coil so that the helicase can move further. This problem can be solved with the help of another enzyme known as topoisomerase. It breaks by cutting either one strand or both the strand and reseals them, thereby removing or releasing the pressure that results from this supercoiling. Now there are two types of topoisomerase. Type 1 that cuts the single strand to overcome the problem and reseals them, while the type 2, also known as DNA gyrase, cuts both the strands and reseals them. Okay. Now then next step is single-stranded binding protein, or also known as SSB protein. Now SSB protein, what they do is they will bind the one of the strand and stabilizes the separated strand. It binds the strand and prevents these two to reform, so that they will remain away from each other. They won't join together. Okay, thus keeping this SSB keeps the two strands separate, so that to provide the template. Now this becomes the template for the new DNA synthesis.
DNA synthesis is initiated by DNA polymerase 3. But for DNA synthesis to start, first it requires RNA primer. As DNA polymerase cannot start de novo, that means it cannot start on its own synthesizing a new strand. RNA primers are short pieces of RNA with 5 to 50 nucleotide length. It is formed by the enzyme primase and SSB protein to form RNA primer. So now the elongation step starts. Once RNA primer is synthesized, DNA polymerase 3 initiates addition of deoxyribonucleotides to the 3' end of the RNA. As DNA polymerase can read only 3' end of the template strand, so runs in the 5' to 3' direction. In this strand, you can see there is RNA primer and the newly synthesized DNA runs in the 5' to 3' direction. It is catalyzed by DNA polymerase 3. And as it is moving towards the replication fork, it is continuous. This strand is the leading strand. Okay? While in this strand, if you see, this strand is running from 3' to 5' direction. And there is a problem. DNA polymerase cannot run in 3' to 5' direction. As I said previously, it can recognize only 3' end. This is 5' end. So this problem can be solved by forming short pieces of DNA which are later joined together. So it requires numerous RNA primers at specified intervals, and hence DNA is synthesized in a discontinuous manner. So can you see here? RNA primers are synthesized and DNA polymerase 3 helps in forming the new strand. But here it forms in small fragments, and these fragments are known as Okazaki fragments. Now if you see, this strand is 5' to 3', but it is running in the opposite direction. See, this was running towards the fork. So this was the leading strand. It was running towards the fork. While this strand is running away from the fork, and this is 5' to 3' direction. It requires numerous RNA primers, and it is discontinuous. Hence, if you see here, both the strands are running in opposite direction, but it runs in 5 prime to 3 prime direction. Hence, DNA synthesis is semi-discontinuous and bidirectional. This is semi-discontinuous. Okay, this is discontinuous, this is continuous. Okay, this is towards the fork, this is away from the fork. So it is bidirectional. So the question can be asked as viva questions. Why DNA synthesis is semi-discontinuous and bidirectional? Okay. For the new, one thing you have to remember is, for the new DNA synthesis in the leading as well as in the leading as well as in the lagging strands, it requires 4-deoxyribonucleotide. That is the prerequisite. The deoxy ATP, deoxy GTP, DCTP and DTTP, all 4-deoxyribonucleotide are required for the new DNA synthesis. Now, incoming deoxyribonucleotide are added one after the another to the 3' end of growing DNA chain, and it follows base pairing rule. Okay, these DNA strands, they follow the base pairing rules. Pyrophosphates are removed with addition of each nucleotide. And you have to remember this template strand. These are the template strands. The dark blue color. The template strand, that is a parent strand, determines base sequence of newly synthesized complementary DNA. Okay. Now, after the formation of both these strands, this leading one and the short fragments of this Okazaki fragments, there is RNA primer in each strand. Can you see? There are RNA primers. Now, we have to remove these RNA primers so that the single-stranded DNA is synthesized. These RNA primers are removed by DNA polymerase 1. DNA polymerase 1 will remove these RNA primers and take its place. Okay, DNA polymerase will take the place of RNA primer. Then DNA polymerase 1 will catalyze synthesis of 5' to 3' direction of short fragment of DNA that replaces the RNA primer. Okay, so these short places, that is this gap, is filled by DNA polymerase 1. It will synthesize DNA fragment over here in the 5' to the 3' direction. So if you see this was synthesized by DNA pol 3, but this small gap will be synthesized by DNA pol 1. So now it will be like this. Okay, the DNA synthesized by pol 3 and the DNA synthesized by pol 1. But now there is a gap in between. This gap is filled by DNA ligase. DNA ligase will ligate or join the two fragments. These two, the one synthesized by DNA pol 1 and the pol 3, pol 1 and the pol 3. Okay, so there is a gap. Can you see here? This gap is filled by DNA ligase. This nick sealing requires energy. Okay, so this way the fragments are joined and that forms, here this forms the lagging strand, and here the whole single stranded lagging strand will be formed. Here in the opposite direction there will be leading strand. So this will be from 5' to 3' direction. Okay. So this is just an overview. This is the parent strand. The fork is moving this side. If you see the leading strand with the RNA primer, it is from 5' to 3' direction towards the replication fork, continuous forward. That is the leading strand. While in the lagging strand, numerous RNA primers are required. It is away from the replication form in a discontinuous manner. It forms small fragments of Okazaki, that is the small DNA fragments. Once the Okazaki fragments are formed, these RNA primers are removed, and in place of that, DNA polymerase will synthesize this short strand, and then the gap is filled by DNA ligase to make the complete DNA strand. So this is leading strand, this is lagging strand. One is towards the fork, one is away from the fork. Proofreading. All three DNA polymerase 3' to 5' exonuclease activity. All the three has exonuclease activity. Fidelity of replication is very essential for the existence of an organism. Proofreading refers to the error correcting process. All three DNA polymerase has proofreading activity. It checks the incoming nucleotides and allows only the correctly matched bases, that is complementary bases, to be added to the growing DNA strand. DNA polymerase 3 has 3' to 5' exonuclease activity. It edits if any mistake occurs. It removes the incorrectly added nucleotide bases before phosphodiesterase bond is formed and reinserts the correct base, and replication continues. DNA Pol 1 and Pol 2 excise mismatched nucleotides before introduction of next nucleotide. Termination occurs by termination sequence like direct termination of replication. A specific protein, binding protein, binds these sequence and prevents the helicase from further unwinding of DNA and facilitates termination. The inhibitors of replication, they are called the antibacterial agents like ciprofloxacin, nalidixic acid, novabiocin, etc. act by inhibiting bacterial DNA gyrase topoisomerase type 2. Okay, so now we will just summarize the whole thing. DNA replication in prokaryotes. Replication is like copying. It is semi-conservative. It means half of original DNA is conserved in the daughter strand. Replication starts with initiation of replication. Once initiated, it forms replication bubble. Helicase form replication fork by cutting hydrogen strand. To form the DNA synthesis, first RNA primers are required, on which DNA polymerase 3 adds the deoxyribonucleotides. Leading strand requires one RNA primer. This is a leading strand. It runs in 5' to 3' direction towards the replication fork. Lagging strand runs again in 5' 3' direction but away from the fork. It requires many RNA primers, forms Okazaki fragments. Replication is thus bidirectional and discontinuous, runs in both directions, one towards and one away from the fork. New synthesized RNA primer then is removed by DNA pol 1, which then synthesizes new strand. The gap between DNA pol 3 and pol 1 is filled by DNA ligase. DNA polymerase have proofreading activity. It checks the incoming nucleotides and allows only the correct matched bases. Termination of replication occurs when it recognizes the TER sequence. Helicase is stopped and hence replication is terminated. Antibacterial agents inhibit by inhibiting bacterial DNA gyrase or topoisomerase type 2. Okay, so that's it.
Now below this video there is a link. You can click on the link to get the descriptive answer of this. Please subscribe and like my channel so that you get new updates of my videos. Thank you.